Hello everyone, my name is Mitko. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be breaking down my net worth as a 22-year-old senior in college. Now, I personally believe it's super important to discuss personal finance because it normalizes these conversations and it motivates all of us to grow together. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty numbers, first let me explain what net worth is. Net worth is simply what you own minus what you owe. In other terms, it's your assets minus your liabilities. Now, some assets could include maybe your investments, your car, your house. On the other hand, liabilities are things such as credit card debt, student loans, and your mortgage. Calculating your net worth is a great way to view where you are financially today. It's also an awesome tool which you can use to set goals and keep yourself accountable. That being said, your net worth isn't everything. It's not equivalent to your self-worth, and you shouldn't base your own value based on just a number. Now, the way we're going to break down my net worth is starting from my largest contributions going to my smallest. And first things first comes my Vanguard Roth IRA account. Now, I started this account roughly about 2.5 years ago, and I've been contributing to it consistently over that time frame. It is currently valued at $19,160. Now, I plan on continuing to contribute to this account every single month so I can max out that $7,000 limit per year. And my strategy with this account is a simple 3-fund portfolio that's focused on preserving and growing my wealth at a market rate. I'm not trying to outperform the market. I just want to make sure my wealth is growing to ensure that when it's time to retire, I have the funds to do so and I don't need to keep working. Personally, I like to invest in VGT, VOO, and SCHD for my Roth IRA account. After my Roth IRA, still in Vanguard, is my Vanguard taxable account. Currently, this account is valued at $17,700. Within this account, I like to personally choose single stock picks that I believe will do well in the next 5 to 10 years. Currently, I've been purchasing Alibaba, ASML, Uber, and AMD. I'm aware that this is a lot riskier than my Roth IRA strategy, but because I'm so young, I have time for these companies to grow and deliver favorable returns in my favor. Next on our list is my crypto position. Now, first things first, I want to acknowledge that my Coinbase position accounts for a larger percentage of my net worth than I would want it to. Ideally, I'd want to allocate somewhere between 5, 10, at most 15% of my net worth to crypto. However, it is currently more than that due to the recent bull run and my assets appreciating. With all that being said, my Coinbase account is currently valued at $15,500. Now, my main two holdings in there is about a 50-50 split between Bitcoin and Ethereum. While I know others prefer to focus mainly on Bitcoin, I believe that Ethereum has a lot more risk to reward ratio in the future. And while Bitcoin will continue to be the #1 crypto in this space, especially with the new Trump administration, I still believe Ethereum has a lot of gains left to make on the table. With all this being said, this is just what I do, considering I'm younger and I'm more risk averse. None of this is financial advice, so please do your own research before making your own investments. Next up is my high yield savings account with Wealthfront. I started this account a year and a half ago when interest rates were at about 5.5%. That's what I was getting back on my money. And now that interest rates have fallen, I only get about 4%, but that's still a lot better than you will get at your regular bank. When I had a savings account at Chase, I was getting 0.05%, which is 100 times worse than what I currently get at Wealthfront. Now, the reason why I use a high yield savings account instead of the regular one is, like I said previously, they pay you a lot more interest to hold your money in there. Within this account, I have my emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of my living expenses, and I also put money aside later for taxes. Now, like I mentioned, due to my tax savings, this account will probably go down in value when it's time for me to pay my taxes. However, I advocate for everyone to use a high yield savings account to build your emergency fund. Whether you choose to do it from 3, 6, 9, 12 months, it's up to your risk savviness and how much risk you're willing to take on at one moment. With this emergency fund, I can feel a lot safer knowing that if some black swan unexpected event occurs, I'll be able to afford my expenses for 3 to 6 months to get back on my feet and back in the game. My next contributor to my net worth is my Webull taxable account. This account currently sits at $7,595. With this account, for the longest, I primarily just hold some ETFs, such as another S&P 500 ETF, a NASDAQ ETF, but I recently believed that since I already have VOO and VGT, it was fine for me to diverse these funds into other single stocks, which I believe in. Now, what I'd also started last year was purchasing $5 a day of Apple. And I did this until Apple set all-time new highs, for which then the company became a little too overvalued for me, and I switched to investing $5 a day into Visa. So I plan to keep this account growing and contributing to it monthly, investing about $5 a day into a company I have strong beliefs in, currently being Visa. My next biggest contributor to my overall net worth is my car. After inputting my license plate into Kelley Blue Book, I was able to find out that my Honda Accord 2013 with 127,000 miles had a fair value between $6,000 to $7,000. Now, to be conservative, I am estimating it as $5,000 because it has a little bit of paint chip on the front cover, but that is it. Next is my business checking account. I use this business checking account to run my business transactions, and I like to keep my business and personal checking accounts separate just because when it's time for me to do my taxes, it's a lot simpler to view the transaction history of my business account alone and know what I need to process as an expense versus what income is personal and I cannot expense. Hence, I have the two different accounts. Now, within my business checking account, I currently have about $3,650, and in my personal checking account with Chase, I have about $2,500. Going forward, to establish my cash position, I also have $3,000 cash that I have in cold hard cash in case I need it for any emergencies and I don't have access to the bank or my credit cards. Last but not least, I recently opened a Robinhood account, which I will be using to sell options this year. I am interested in learning new ways of growing my wealth, and I've recently had a lot of YouTube videos come up on my page for selling options. So I figured what better way to learn than by trying hands-on and researching online. I currently have funded this account with $1,650, and let me know if you'd be interested in seeing more content on me growing my Robinhood option selling account. Now that we've discussed all of my assets, we can add them all up. Adding up all my assets, we get $83,627. Now, let's not forget about liabilities. They're just as important as your assets, as they can make or break your total net worth. So starting with my liabilities, I have 3 credit cards which currently have outstanding balances of $1,948. Subtracting these liabilities from my assets, we get a total final net worth of $81,678. Now, I'm super proud of myself and all the hard work I've put in to get to this point, but I know this is just the beginning of an even greater journey. My current goal is to achieve a net worth of $1 million by the time I'm 30. And the way I plan on doing so is by investing consistently, increasing my income streams and building new ones, and most importantly, keeping my spending in check. Because if you don't budget and keep your spending in check, it's impossible to save and invest more money. And I like to remind you guys that personal finance is not a race. It's similar to a marathon. One step at a time, slowly and slowly, you build up until you get to the finish line. And the way you do this to build towards financial independence, you have to celebrate the small wins and keep building those wealth building habits throughout your journey. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on your notifications. I will continue to post actively throughout this year, and let me know, where are you on your wealth building journey? Thank you very much for watching. You guys have a great day. Take care.